For my Genius Hour project, I proposed the question, is baseball the most difficult sport in the world? Now I've learned that this is a stupid question because you cannot compare all sports since they are different and difficult in their own way. What I now propose is the question, is hitting a baseball the single hardest thing to do in sports and why? I will be going through the science behind hitting a baseball and why it is so difficult. Yogi Berra says you can't think and hit at the same time, and he was absolutely right. There just doesn't seem like there would be enough time for a hitter to process a 95-mile-an-hour fastball and react quickly enough to hit it. In fact, Ted Williams says it's the hardest thing to do in sports. The distance from the rubber to home plate is 60 feet 6 inches. Subtracting 5 or 6 feet to account for the pitcher's stride, it takes an average fastball of 95 miles an hour about 400 milliseconds to get to the catcher's mitt. The batter is already at a disadvantage because it takes the brain 100 milliseconds to process an image, plus it takes 150 milliseconds for an average swing, and 25 milliseconds for the brain to send the signal to the body to swing. This leaves him with just 125 milliseconds to gauge the pitch to decide whether to swing or not. To put this into some perspective, it takes 300 to 400 milliseconds just to blink. If the pitch looks good, the hitter has 7 millisecond window to meet the ball and put it into play. If he's too early or too late, the best he can do is hope for a foul ball. Now this is just hitting a fastball, and as you can see, just merely making contact with the baseball is extremely difficult on its own. But contact itself isn't always good. The point of hitting is to hit the ball where the fielders aren't. Making solid contact with the ball gives you a greater chance to get a hit. But in baseball, a pitcher can throw many different pitches. Let's look at the difference between a curveball and a changeup compared to a fastball. First, we have a changeup, and a changeup averages 85 miles per hour with an average vertical drop of 2.1 inches and a reaction time of 0.48 seconds. The purpose of a changeup is to deceive the batter in thinking it's a fastball. The ball is thrown with the same arm speed as a fastball, and when the pitch is coming, it has the illusion of a fastball. The hitter, thinking it's a fastball, will often swing early, causing them to miss the ball or make weak contact. Next, we have a curveball, which comes in at about 77 miles per hour, giving the hitter a reaction time of 0.53 seconds. What makes this pitch so difficult to hit is the movement on the ball. This pitch drops on an average of 14.1 inches, meaning that from the time the ball is released from the pitcher's hand to the time it reaches the batter, it drops over a foot. Not only does it move vertically, but horizontally as well. A curveball has the ability to start on one side of the plate and move over to the other side. Hitting any of these pitches when knowing it is coming is a challenging task, but when the pitcher mixes what pitches they throw and where they throw it in no particular order, hitting a baseball becomes nearly impossible. Since hitting a baseball is so difficult, if a player has a 300 batting average over their career, they are most likely a Hall of Famer. That's just getting a hit 30% of the time. There is no other professional sport that if you could succeed 30% of the time, you will get put into the Hall of Fame. And yes, I understand that there are many other extremely difficult things to do in sports. Boxing is known to be the hardest pound-for-pound sport in the world. In boxing, you have to be able to throw punches, dodge punches, and take punches. Boxing is very hard and both physically and mentally exhausting to the body. Ice hockey is also a very challenging sport. Being a very good skater is on its own extremely difficult, but to be able to pass the puck, hit the opponent, and shoot the puck while skating takes serious talent. Boxing and ice hockey are rated as the two hardest sports in the world. I'm not saying baseball in general is harder than any of those two sports or any other sports, as defense is a lot easier than offense. But to me, specifically, hitting a baseball is harder than any specific task in any sport. There is no true way to prove hitting a baseball is the hardest task in sports, however, because the word hardest is just a matter of opinion. My goal of this project was to learn the science behind hitting a baseball and show people why I think that it is the most difficult thing to do in sports. I feel like I have accomplished this goal and have enjoyed this process very much. I know that it isn't the most entertaining thing to people, but it was for me. Thank you guys for watching.